uh, that was the beginning of the end for the Montreal regime when it come to management. Bergevin was in his last year of his contract, apparently, was trying to negotiate another one, and somehow that didn't work out. And then, Montreal, let's get back to this. You and I talked about this years ago, okay? Montreal, when it comes to their fans, are the most passionate hockey fans in the world. I don't care what anybody says. They're borderline, I'll say it because I played in that city for 10 years as a visitor. They're borderline psychotic over their team. Okay? They are.
Right.
And they can't put up with this shit. Their record is just brutal. So Jeff Molson, the president and the owner of the Montreal Canadiens, obviously Molson's Canadian and the beer and all that, decided it was time. And I'm sure a lot of people got taken aback by it, but it just goes to show you, Paul, you can go from Stanley Cup finalists to Stanley Cup bums, in less than a year if you don't have great goaltending, and that's basically what causes I think is the root of the problem there. I don't know what else to say about it, but Jeff Gorton. I mean, I'm going to be one of those ones that say good for him. I mean, he bounced back from the debacle that he had in with New York with him and John Davidson getting released, and Jeff Gordon did a pretty good job here in New York. Besides what happened, towards the end of last year with not toughening up the team and all that stuff, and I think he'll do a good job there. He's got the experience, but let me tell you, there's no more heat on anybody that plays in the NHL than in Montreal.
Yeah, yeah. You think it's bad in Toronto?
Trust me. Listen, you know how the Yankees are covered in New York and the Giants and all that stuff? Well, it's 10 times worse in Montreal about the Montreal Canadiens. It is. It's fact. I mean, you can go look at any Montreal website or any Montreal newspaper, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right. I'm gonna refresh the stream right now.
That's it. That's all I got on that.
It seems, it seems like the most important thing really would.
I don't know. What's your take on it? What do you think?
I think with the Canadians, I think, like you said, I think it all starts with, Carey Price is the hero over there. With him, with him being out with the situation, and stepping away from hockey and trying to get healthy, I think it all starts there. To be honest with you, and I think the importance of him being the major backstop and the leader that he is for that team. I think a lot of it starts there, and I think it was just a trickle-down effect. We'll see. You got to hope that they bounce back. And the other part of that is Mellanby stepped down. Probably, as we discussed while we were off the air, what do you think triggered that, Kotz? The fact that
I think he was the assistant. Yeah, he was the assistant GM there under Bergevin, and he started, I think, as a head of player personnel there, and I think he went in to the owner and had a little chat, with the ownership about maybe taking over the job as GM, and is there any future for him there? And obviously nothing worked out, and he decided to resign because I think he kind of smelt it coming. You got to know something's going to happen there sooner or later when you got a lame duck GM who's got less than a year left on his contract, and the record being what it is, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that shit was going to happen eventually.
Yeah. So, Kotz, are you still not hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but you were kind of breaking in and out there. Like you were obviously you were talking, but I didn't hear you a little bit. So,
all right, I'm trying.
Hey, it is what it is. This is the high tech technical world that we get. So, cheers.
Oh my god, it's hilarious, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, welcome to the high tech world that we all live in and trying to get figured out here. I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of the software that I'm using, so I think I'm just going to absolutely...
I'm hearing you okay now, but, a little while ago, I was waiting to hear you answer, and then all of a sudden you broke in. That's all. Yeah. So don't worry about it, people. We'll get this thing figured out eventually.
Yeah, we're going to... I'm actually going to... I'm going to change... I'm gonna change the software that we use, and I'm not. Hey, Paulie, is there a Sesame Street school of computers that we can go to, you and I, or? Yeah. It's the software that I'm using. I'm almost convinced, and using Skype so that we can both share the screen. Trying to get everything integrated. I think there's a couple other technologies I'm going to look at. So with that being said, we'll just keep rocking and rolling right now. Do the best that we can. Apparently we're not yet live, but I do have a streaming key. So I'm going to leave it. What's happening. I'm going to leave it rock and roll right now. It looks like we're live and kicking, so I have the live.
We are now?
Yeah, it looks like. Well, I see.
That deserves another toast.
I see the stream, but apparently it's not uploading to YouTube yet, so it might be slightly delayed, which wouldn't be the first time. I got all the green lights, so I'll go ahead and play with that in a minute. Let's move on. Big news: Evander Kane looks like. Kotze, I mean, it's crazy how this guy, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was a high draft choice. He was,
I think he was fourth pick overall or something like that by the Atlanta Thrashers, I believe. I might not be. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be something. And just the continued issues and problems and trades and moving and everything else. I mean, he's been a big disappointment, to say the least, for how highly he was scouted and picked. And here he is. He just cleared waivers, and a guy with his talent and his ability to clear waivers tells you a lot about character issues and how guys and how teams are more inept to be worried about the character issue than putting a player on the ice that has the capabilities.
Well, I looked up his number. I looked up his numbers today, Paulie, or actually yesterday, and his numbers are pretty decent. They're not horrible by today's standards. I mean, today's standards, if you average, pretty close to half a point a game, you're considered a superstar these days. So, I mean, I'm not being funny here, but that's the facts. His numbers are pretty decent. His actual on-ice play is pretty good. But his off-ice character has always been in question. He's just caused so much shit for every team that he's ever been to. Whether it's warranted or not warranted, he just seems to be around it all the time. From, gambling debts in Vegas to not getting along with Dustin Byfuglien, not getting along with this guy, not getting along with that guy. Him passing through waivers. I mean, I even heard that there's teams that are interested in picking him up, but I think they're a little nervous about having 4 more years on his contract at $26 or $27 million. Who wants to pick that up and still possibly end up with a problem child? I mean, is it time to cue the AC/DC song, "Problem Child"? I mean, again, if he could just separate himself from the character issues that he's had, he's not a bad player.
Yeah.
But it's too bad. I mean, he's caused a lot of his own problems. It's, some of it's warranted, some of it he's obviously been like okay with, like that he never did. Apparently the domestic abuse with the wife and all that stuff. I mean, or the gambling debts, on his own teams and stuff like that. But his play on the ice is good. His off-ice activities is not. So if you're a GM out there, you're a team out there, you're willing to take a chance, well, then you should know what you're getting.
Right. It's true.
That's a lot of money to be paid for a AHLer, though. I remember when I got sent down, I was getting I got sent down my last year from Detroit, and I was getting NHL money, but trust me, it's not even 100 times what he's getting paid.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is what it is today. I mean, we're going to talk about money. I got to throw this one in there. Good for Jack Hughes, but 55 points in 119 games at 20 years old, you're going to give him a $64 million contract?
Right.
Boy, oh boy, that's today's NHL for you right there. I guess you got to lock these guys up. I mean, I'm not knocking him in any way, but this is the state of the NHL today.
Right.
That's a lot of money for a guy that's only played a couple of years.
I wouldn't disagree with you at all. I mean, what is this? Is this his third?
Good for him, though. I mean, trust me, if I'm Jack Hughes, I'm doing a leprechaun kick all the way down the hallway now.
Is it his third season, Kotz? Is this year 3?
Yeah, I believe so. Well, it was him. Wasn't it him and Kako?
Yeah. He went first. Kako went second. Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I've watched enough of him to know that he does have that it thing, like Patrick Kane does in Chicago, but he's also injured a lot.
Yeah.
He missed the first 17 games this year.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. That's got to be unbelievable as an NHL player. No matter who you are, you're coming off an injury and they give you $64 million.
Yeah. Well,
here's to Jack Hughes.
Yeah. Cheers. Oh my God, it's hilarious. That is hilarious.
I have to get that in there because of the money thing. Evander Kane's getting paid a lot of money to do nothing in the AHL, and this guy's getting paid a lot of money. And
here's to Jack Hughes making all the money.
Oh yeah, give him a toast.
Not having to do much yet. Not having to break through, but. It is
like I said, I think he's got 55 points in 119 games so far. So, like I told you, that's like a half a point a game basically. And if you're a half a point a game guy in NHL today, you're considered a superstar.
Yeah, man, you were born in the wrong era, huh, Kotz?
What's that?
I said you were born in the wrong era.
Listen, these guys, again, the decades are going by here, and there's nothing we can do about it. I'm not sure I'd love to be able to play today. If I was, I mean, if I had that 1 year that I had in Hartford where I had 33 points in 70-some games, 72 games, I mean, that means I'm about a $6 million a year player right now, But back then it was $125,000. Or whatever, I don't remember.
Let me see something here. I'm gonna do one more thing here. I'm trying to get everything up and running. I'm trying to get everything working here. It looks like we're having some.
I think you need Captain Kirk in the captain's seat there.
Yeah. Hey. Let's keep rolling. I want to talk about really quick. Let's talk about the dirty stuff, Kotz, the filthy stuff in the game. And I want you to share the story that you shared with me off air. But let's talk about, okay, you got Marchand gets fined. He got fined and got 3 games for slew footing. Then you got Brandon Lemieux, who got fined and suspended for biting. Kotz, what's going on with the dirty, filthy stuff out there?
What do you want first?
Whatever you
Seriously, well, let's do the Slewfoot shit first. I mean, you and I have talked about this when we were doing it on just a regular show through the radio. Brad Marchand's another one. He's turned into like a pretty superior hockey player from his early days of being a pain in the ass, but he's still a pain in the ass in the end. Right. And I still think it revolves back to the way the rules of the NHL are today. That you've taken away the intimidation part of the game, so you have little rats like him running around, still thinking he's King Kong at 5 foot fuck all. Okay, I'm going to say it like it is. He should have had his ass handed to him many, many times, and he probably would have back in my day, or even after my day a little bit. But he's another one. He's turned into a really fantastic hockey player, but he's still a pain in the ass and does stupid things. I mean, how nice is it for you to be able to do stuff like this, Paulie, today, when you can afford to lose $91,000 in salary?
Wow.
Think about it. That's what he's losing.
Yeah.
Now, the league, when they changed all the rules about, the dropping the gloves first, instigating the fights, starting the fights, trying to police it from some cushy office in Manhattan, it just continues to show it doesn't work. You know how it works? You take care of the business right there on the ice. Let the players take care of it. It always has been that way, and it always should have been that way. But unfortunately, the NHL is not that way anymore. You're eliminating that part of the game so you can get this high-flying speed act on the ice. I get that part, but you're never going to stop this crap by trying to rule it to death. Okay. And he's not the only one. PK Subban's had a history of doing it, and there's been more slew-footing going on over the last 2, 3, 4 years than I remember in my day. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, again, Brad Marchand, you can play on my team anytime you want, as long as you're on my team. But if we were playing against you, I think we'd want to kill you. Seriously, sooner or later.
Yeah.
Somebody would have to take care of business. Now, Brendan Lemieux. Now, this is a good one. I don't remember the last time I heard anybody talking about being bitten in the National Hockey League. And, the Tkachuk brothers, as we'll call them, they're known for their little feistiness and nastiness as well. So it's kind of odd that would happen to a Tkachuk. But I can tell you a story real quick about my time in the Major Junior A League in Ontario. My first year with Windsor, we were an expansion team, and we were a bunch of young, peach fuzz guys going into Hamilton to play the Finn Cups in an exhibition game. And they were loaded with, veteran guys. And we ended up having a bench clearing brawl, which was not uncommon back then. And I got involved with a player, and I will mention his name. His name was Joe Contini. And I'll make it plain and simple. I was beating the shit out of him so bad that he was doing anything and everything he could to try and stop me from beating the shit out of him. And he ended up getting one of my fingers on my right hand in his mouth, and took the whole finger in his mouth and chomped down on it.
Oh, man.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm looking around, and there's nothing I could do because, everybody's fighting.
Oh, jeez.
So there's nobody's coming to help me. So eventually I took my hand, and I just pried his mouth open and took my finger out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I had teeth marks like it was a ring all the way around my finger. Okay, he had broke the skin and everything, and when they finally cleared up the brawl and stuff, I was in the medical room there in Hamilton, and I was getting a shot and getting it looked at by doctors. The referee came by and I showed it to him. I said, dude, I'm not dude back then, but now, I said, look what the fuck he did. And I said, what are you going to do about it? They did absolutely nothing. He got no suspension, no nothing. That's the way hockey was back then. So I learned a big lesson to keep my fingers away from people's mouths. Now, what happened with Brendan Lemieux? I mean, I can't explain it. I mean, was he temporarily insane? Was he getting his ass kicked? I saw the video. I don't think he was getting his ass kicked that bad or anything like that. But he's going to get his just reward for that. They got him, and he's going to get suspended and all that shit. But it does happen periodically in hockey, I guess. And my story's a fact.
That's hilarious.
Joe Contini, that was his name.
On your finger, dude, because you're beating the snot out.
He chopped down on it because he couldn't do anything in the fight, so he He stopped me. It stopped me from beating the crap out of me more, though. I'll tell you that much, because I was shocked.
That's great. I mean, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do, man. It sounds like me in a street fight. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, you're looking around for help from anybody, because I was 16 years old playing for Windsor at the time, and you're kind of looking around for help. And then you realize, we got a bench clearing bar. There's no linesman here. A referee's going to help you now.
Yeah.
What the hell are you going to do?
Just no help. Just the Calgary's not coming, man.
So I ripped his mouth open so I could get my finger out of there, for Christ's sakes,
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
True story. True story.
That's good stuff. That's what I love. I love these stories.
I wish I had a Yingling then, though, too.
Yeah. Cheers.
Boy. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with Lemieux. I always liked Lemieux when he played for the Rangers. I thought he was one of the more physical guys, stuck his nose in there, and I don't think they gave him much of a shot when it come to maybe trying to improve his game, by juggling the lineup all the time. But hey, what's going to happen is going to happen, and he's going to be labeled as a guy that bit somebody in the National Hockey League now. So
yeah, well, it's still. I mean, Marchand's got a record, a mile long for the crap that he's done. Who was it? Who did he lick? He licked somebody. Who did he lick?
Oh, God. He did that twice to somebody.
Stamkos. Wasn't it? Was it Stamkos?
He did that twice in this league. And I don't remember who it was, but that enough right there was enough to be suspended for life as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. That's just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous stuff. All right.
But you see, here's the thing, though, Paul. A guy like Brad Marchand, his play on the ice is what keeps him around, because he's a good player.
No, he is. Oh, man. OBS just crashed. All right.
What does that mean?
Oh, good Lord. It means I don't know if we're live. But it's okay because I'm recording everything. So if I have to upload, I'll just upload the episode when we're done. With that being said, we're just gonna continue to move forward, and then I'll get it figured out.
Yeah, let's talk something good about the NHL right now. The top teams in the league. The Leafs. My former team, my hometown team. They've turned it around big time. I mean, they're leading their division now, and they got everything firing on all cylinders. And there was a time early this year people were wondering what the hell was going on with that squad, but there's just too much talent on that team for it to do what it was doing earlier in the season. And now they're just they're playing good defense, getting great goaltending, and they're getting the scoring from everybody on that team that's supposed to score. Yeah. And then you go from there, and you look at Calgary. Calgary's still doing it. They're doing it with just a big physical, great defensive team. Edmonton, you got two of the best players in the world, Draisaitl and McDavid, rocking the ship. And, Minnesota out of nowhere. Go look it up, Paul. Minnesota's leading their division, Yeah. And I believe there's a former goalie of the Rangers playing there called Cam Talbot. Yeah. Am I correct? He's doing the job there. And you can't neglect the Rangers too. I mean, they're in a tough division right now. You got Washington leading, who have 2 games in hand on them, and they're rocking too. And I think Carolina's come back a little bit, but they're still right there, and the Rangers are right there. And the one thing that I'm going to say, just cover it all in one shot here is all these teams have one thing in common: their goaltending has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's probably, like I always tell you, you're gonna win championships and Stanley Cups. Your goalie has to be the best.
Oh yeah.
Has to be the best player on your team on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look around the league, and it's always been that way. Goaltending is, like you said, you have to have goaltending.
Absolutely.
But I'm surprised at Tampa Bay right now. Not that it's not like they're awful, but I don't remember if they had a slow start last year. I thought they came.
They were guns of fire last year either, Paulie. That team. If I was running Tampa, I'm not worried about that. They're the kind of team that let's get to the playoffs and we'll see what happens. I mean, that's kind of talent they have on that team. Yeah. Mind you, they have some injuries right now, Paulie. Yeah. There's some key guys out for that team. So they're a kind of team that's kind of floundering a little, or not floundering, but not living up to what they're supposed to be.
Right.
But when they get healthy, and if they, get in that playoffs like they probably will, they'll be a tough out, no matter who plays them.
Yeah.
Goaltender's great there. Vasilevsky or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But I think Kucherov's hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he's played.
Yeah, there's a lot of key guys out for that team right now. Or not a lot, but a couple of key guys. But so I wouldn't worry if I was Tampa and a Tampa Bay fan right now. I wouldn't worry about them at all. There's other teams. I mean, there's other teams right now that are doing a lot better than I thought they would. Like Minnesota's a shocker to me. Well, they got rid of Parise, they got rid of Sutter, they bought those guys out, and now look what's happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where did Calgary come from?
Well, they had a couple. Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey had what they call a down year last year, and he's a pretty key player on that team. But Lucic has found his game again. Playing there, and they're a big squad. And their defense is so good. I mean, they limit your offensive opportunities. Their goaltending's good. And they can play the game any way you want. You want to play a slick, fast game, we'll play it. But I think they dictate the pace of play with their size and their speed. They're a big physical team, and I think it wears a lot of teams down. I mean, there's some really, really tough divisions right now where you got teams. I mean, the Rangers are 4-3, and they're in third place in their division. Think about it.
No, I know. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to say anything negative. I think the Rangers are growing. I think I'm pretty impressed with them right now. They're finding ways to win. They've played a couple of really good teams in Boston. That was a really good win last week with the Canadiens. I mean, with the Bruins.
Which I didn't see, by the way. I didn't see that because I was busy.
Yeah. I just think that, Shesterkin has been, he's been really. You talk about goaltending and you talk about winning. This young man has really impressed me with his ability, and I didn't really expect it. Coming from a New York Ranger fan who had a love affair with Henrik Lundqvist, and to watch that guy for year after year to just to be everything to that team. This kid comes in and is playing solid hockey. And, I had said in the beginning of the year to you, I said, wow, the team's giving up golden opportunities, grade A prime scoring chances against. And I was very impressed with his stamina and his saves and his ability to really make a difference. And now the team around him, they're starting to get confident. I still haven't seen a ton out of Zibanejad, Chris. I still don't think he's all the way. I know he's real streaky. I know he's hot and cold. I know last year he had COVID a few times, but I still don't think that he's peaked. I don't think Panarin's peaked yet, and yet they're getting score. It leads me into Chris Kreider. I mean, I know I'm covering a lot here. I know we'll have to go backwards, but talk about Chris Kreider. For years, Kotze, you had told me, and you spoke about it on the shows in the past, and Chris had to simplify his game. And I think for the first time, last year I think I started to see it too, but he has simplified his game, and you said, he shouldn't be carrying the puck. He should use the big body that he has, stand in front, be on the power play. Positioning is everything for a player of his size and his stature. And here it is. He's leading in goal scoring for the Rangers. I think he's top 3 in the league right now when it comes to goals. And again, his game is real simple. He's not trying to do everything. He's not carrying. He's not trying to gain the blue line and be all pretty. It's just been a real simple game for him, and it's really paid off. And I think you said this, 6 years ago. So I know I covered a lot between Shesterkin and Kreider, but go ahead, Kotz, and give us some analytics here.
Yeah, I've been saying about Kreider since I first seen him play for the Rangers. He's a big guy. He's a fast guy. He's a power forward. He's strong. He can shoot the puck through a brick wall, but he's just not. He's not the kind of guy that I think should be handling the puck very much. He should be just cruising around that net area, and I've been saying it for years. If he just hung around that net area and worried less about the puck handling part of the game, he'd score 30, 40 goals every year. Right. I don't know what clicked this year. Was it him that finally figured it out, or was it a coaching staff? But what I'd be upset about is that if I was a Chris Kreider player and I had how many different coaches before and assistant coaches, why you didn't get that through to me sooner or later. I mean, listen, I'm not knocking this guy as an overall player. He's not a great puck handler with the speed he has. It's just facts are facts. If anybody thinks he is, well, you're seeing a different Chris Kreider than I am. But I'm also seeing a guy that's a leader, but he's finally figured it out. What he does, like the deflections he's scoring on now, I mean, he's obviously worked on that. He's worked on that big time, because some of the deflections he's scoring are almost like I'm going to say it, like Gretzky-like. I've seen Gretzky do that kind of shit in my day. You know what I mean? Right. Where the puck's 8 feet wide of the net, and everybody's looking for it to go in the corner. Next thing you know, it's in the net. I mean, it happened to me in Toronto with Gretzky. That's why I mentioned that. But I am so glad for Chris Kreider. I mean, if he continues and stays healthy, I think he's got a real good shot scoring 40 to 50 goals this year. And I think the Rangers are going to need that because, like you said, Zibanejad isn't quite Zibanejad of the past that we know. Panarin, I think Panarin's points are up there, but I think his goals are down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need this kind of scoring from other people. So It's good to see Kreider leading the way. It's also good to see Panarin still, getting the points per game. But overall, I mean, you got to give Chris Kreider props. He's figured it out. I wish I was coaching him 8 years ago. Be honest with you, I would have told him. Yeah. I would have told him. It's not a negative thing. Of trying to help a guy out. And get him to do the right thing. And I think the less he carries the puck, the better he is.
Right.
That's just my opinion. Y'all think I'm full of shit, then I'm full of shit. But proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I think proof is in the pudding, and I mean, to see him play this year, and the confidence, the deflections. I mean, obviously, he's, right now he's like the deflections,
rebounds, going to the net, Paul, all that stuff, stuff. There's not a defenseman in the league that can handle him in front of the net.
Right. And
period.
And you said that, you had been saying that for a long time. Chris's job should be real simple. Just be a net front presence. You're that guy. You're strong. I mean, he's probably, he's one of the strongest guys on his skates. He could, he can really use his body well, and just the ability to now, really show the deflections and rebounds, like you said, and being in the right place at the right time. And here it is. I mean, just leading the team, and I think, what's he got? He's well over 10 goals, right? What is he? 12, 15 goals? 12 goals? 12 goals? Let me look.
Got 15.
15 goals. Yeah. So
15. Ovechkin's got 19, and Draisaitl's got 20.
So top 3 in the league, and all the while, I think this guy's capabilities are, huge. I think we'll go in and out with the New York Rangers a little bit here, Chris. Let's if you want to continue through. I think one of the things that I do want to talk about is with the Rangers is Kakko and Hedl. I think, and I know we had spoke about it, prior to recording. I think, you talk about Jack Hughes signing a big contract over there with the Devils, and Kakko was our first pick, and in that pick he was I don't know why OBS is taking a dump on us. I don't know, coming in A1 in the pick, I think he's gaining his confidence now. I think he's gaining strength. I think he's starting to blossom. He looks a lot more confident. He's shooting a puck. He's going to the net. He's doing all those things. I wanted to get your evaluation, your fair evaluation on Kakko.
I agree with you. I think what you're seeing is a kid maturing. I think Gerard Gallant did a couple of good things with him this year. He moved him around, like from the bottom line to the middle lines to the top line, and it gave him a couple of shots at the power play, the backup power play, and stuff like that. You could see it in him now that he's got that little extra step in his game right now, and he's starting to show off a little bit of the puck handling skills that he has. I mean, some of the he hasn't scored a lot of goals yet, but some of the goals he's scored, I mean, pretty good hands to score them goals. And again, they're gonna need somebody like him to like chip in. It can't be just Kreider, it can't be just Panarin, Zibanejad, Strome, and all these other guys. They're gonna need. I hate that word secondary scoring because, my goal is just as good as your goal. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I just think, he needs to continue to be what he's doing. And like you said, Paulie, it's all about confidence. And I hope it continues the rest of the year. Now Hedl, we're talking about Hedl. I'm not sold on him like you are, okay? I'm going to be quite honest with you. I think he's got a lot of skill. I think he's got a lot of ability, but I don't see the finish in him, and when I say finishing off plays. He gets at least 2 or 3 good opportunities a game, and he should be able to finish at least one of them.
Yeah.
And but I will say, I will agree with you though. He is getting a little bit more bolder, a little bit more stronger out there in his play. But I just got to see him finish some more, because we're not talking about a second-year player here. We're talking about a guy in his 4th year. It might even be his 5th year. I'm not positive yet on that one, but 4th year for sure. And you can talk about age and 22 and 21 being young, but the National Hockey League brings people in at 18 years of age.
Right.
So,
yeah.
If you get 4 years of experience, you should have it by now. Yeah. I'd like to see him get better. Let's put it that way, because he's another one. If he starts clicking, and Kakko starts clicking, and Lafreniere, I'm going to give him a little more time. I mean, he's another one that needs to pick up his game a little bit. But if these guys start clicking along the way and start contributing like they're capable of or supposed to, they're going to be a pretty tough team to beat, Paulie. Because if you get Zibanejad clicking, Panarin, is going to still continue to score points, whether it's goals or assists. Kreider, as long as Kreider keeps doing and stays healthy, trust me, he's got 40 goals or more for sure this year. They're going to be hard. And with the goaltending and, the defense getting a little better, overall, I'm getting off track here, but overall, you got to be pretty happy. I see a lot of Ranger fans complain about this, complain about that, and this and that. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. But damn it, their record's 13-4-3. Who would have guessed that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to you, Kotz, aside from Kreider, who's the bright spot on the team for you right now of the New York Rangers?
Oh, obviously Adam Fox, but I'm looking at Julien Gauthier right now. He's a bit of an enigma. He was I think it was 15th pick overall by Carolina. It had some really good numbers in junior, scoring and points and all that. And I watch his game right now, and I don't think there's a more powerful forward right now that is able to do what he does, just blow around defensemen, go behind the net, go in front of the net. His only problem is he's got to finish, Paulie. Mm. He gets those opportunities every game. He does that to defensemen every game, where he builds up steam. He's a good puck handler, but when he gets to the net, for some reason, that soft touch that he had in juniors isn't quite there yet in the NHL. If that ever clicks, boy, oh boy, he'll be something to be reckoned with. Because we all, I'm not going to compare him to anybody in the league, but right now, show me somebody who gets to the net in a more stronger, faster fashion than him.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I can't think of anybody that does that. Wait, he doesn't. Just got to finish. Kid, you got to learn how to finish the puck. Put it in the net.
So, Kotz, breaking news yesterday, and we've covered a lot of the big news articles. Apparently, the Penguins sold to Fenway Sports Group, and Mario Lemieux will retain a stake in the team. Are you at all privy on what's happening there? I mean, the sale of the Penguins.
Well, when I visited Pittsburgh a couple of years ago with Pierre LaRouche, and I got to meet Mario in person, other than playing against him, you could kind of tell something was going on. I mean, I'm kind of shocked that they did, but they got $900 million, which the team was valued at $840 million, so that's not a bad little chunk of change. But from what I understand, that Mario and his partner, I can't remember his name, they're still having a little small stake in it. So
yeah.
But I think it's just going to be a little less of the, how do you say it, the corporation stuff. rather than I think Mario's going to just sit back and concentrate more on the hockey stuff. But the Boston group, they own what, the Boston Red Sox. They own a big soccer team in Liverpool, I believe. So they kind of know what they're doing too about how to run a sports team. So
sure,
we'll see. I mean, it's actually a good thing for Pittsburgh because you got to remember, years ago it was Mario that saved that city from losing their team.
Sure.
So now you got some big funding behind it. Should be good for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That and the big cheat in the lottery getting Sidney Crosby, but
Oh, yeah, but you know what? That happens in pro sports. I didn't hear the Knicks fans cry about Patrick Ewing either. So, back in the day.
I am proud.
Come on, shit. Come on. How did the Rangers come up with that ball the last couple of years?
The big cheat in the lottery. I tell you, I don't know.
Oh, it's a business now, and I'm not going to deny that. Who knows what goes on in that lottery thing, but it's a business now. You know that, and they're not going. The NHL's not going to screw their own business.
You were talking about the Minnesota Wild earlier in the program. I'm reading more reports that Mikko Koivu will have his. Is going to be the first
jersey retired.
Yeah, number 9 is going to be retired. So, again, talk about a franchise.
Oh, good for him. That's where he's actually, one of the guys that was there from the beginning. And I think, didn't he go through the cancer too at one time?
Yeah.
He beat cancer, I think.
I believe so. Excuse me. Real quick on the
I think he did.
Yeah, real quick on the audio, because there was he had a brother too. What didn't he have a brother?
Saku Koivu.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? I think Saku was a Montreal Canadian. I think were they both? I don't remember, but I know. All I know is Mikko Koivu is basically a Minnesota player. So.
Yep, retiring number 9. Saku Koivu, you're right. I believe played for Montreal. But talk about a franchise, Minnesota, the Minnesota North Stars.
Oh, boy.
Mike Modano. And, it's one of the things.
They had a lot of great players in that organization when they were the Minnesota Stars. No question about it.
But you talk about, and it brings me to the NHL because – and the reason I'm doing this is right here, because of the Phoenix Coyotes, or the Arizona Coyotes, or whatever you want to call them, Coyotes. My point is this, the old Winnipeg Jets sit behind me, okay, and Winnipeg comes back, and I like to bash the NHL on the administrative side of things, and it's just what I like to do because I feel that. There was a lot of poor decision making, and I think there's a lot of work that there's a lot of things that got covered, and I think a lot of things should get uncovered. But with that being said, you talk about the Minnesota Wild now retiring number 9. Wasn't that Mike Modano's old number, Kotz? That's the reason I'm getting into this. Wasn't Mike Modano, a North Star? And Minnesota North Star, to say the least, they go out to Dallas, right? And now Minnesota, again, what are they? Probably 10 years into their franchise again. And now they're going to retire number 9 under the Minnesota Wild name. And it's just, again, it brings me to this team right here behind me, which I think for the rest of the year I will continue to put this up. Because I just feel
you mean the jerseys that I can't see?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll talk about that later. I have the Buffalo Sabres and the Arizona Coyotes behind me. Yeah.
The Yotes.
But Kotz, a lot of this gets swept under the table, and the history of this game, and I love the history. I'm an original Six Ranger fan for a lot of different reasons, and I love the tradition of this game. And the Stanley Cup is the most coveted sport, and I think it's the toughest trophy in the world to obtain. Because you
Best looking one too.
You have the season, and then you have the playoff season. But there's a lot of things that get uncovered that haven't been uncovered or spoke about, and it's just something that kind of aggravates me. So here it is, and of course I'm happy that they're retiring his number, but it just brings me to, like I said, Mike Modano was drafted by the Minnesota North Stars, wore number 9, correct? And correct me if I'm wrong. And if anybody who should rightfully be retired in Minnesota, it should have been him.
You know what, Paulie? This is why we do this show. I totally disagree with you.
Okay. Well, let's go.
They're not the Minnesota North Stars. They're the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota North Stars went to Dallas.
I know.
It's not the same franchise.
Yeah, I know. But the NHL.
Well, I get. I understand your feelings on the nostalgic part of it. That's where Mike Modano started. But Mike Modano got famous playing in Dallas. He didn't get famous playing in Minnesota. Basically, I mean, put up his best numbers when he was in Dallas.
Sure.
So, it's. I get what you're saying, but they're not the Minnesota North Stars in Minnesota anymore. They're the Dallas Stars, which kind of sucks. I do agree with you. It should be the Minnesota North Stars still, but that's where I can't differentiate, and say, well, that's where he started and that's where it should be retired. I mean, the franchise moved.
No, I agree. And
they don't retire jerseys of players in a former city.
I get
Paulie.
I get it.
All right.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to go back to the fact that the franchise got moved out of that city because it was a failure, and then they brought another franchise in. My point is, I get what you're saying. It's not the same franchise. I get that. But time after time, how many times has, again, we have the Winnipeg Jets, who used to be the Arizona Coyotes that moved to Arizona, but now we have the Winnipeg Jets again. So I get it that they're the Minnesota Wild, but again, it's a franchise that was there originally, gets moved out by bad business from the NHL side of things, and then reinstates a franchise. And I have a problem with that. I really have a problem with that.
Listen, I get what you're saying, but there's one key thing that you're forgetting. When they went back to Winnipeg, what did they call them again?
Yeah.
They didn't call Minnesota the North Stars again.
I know. I get it. I know what you're saying. I agree with you. I get that part of it. I'm talking about city. I'm talking about business.
Technically speaking.
Yep, technically speaking.
If you played for the Minnesota North Stars and then you moved to Dallas in your career, why would they retire your jersey with the Wild?
No, and they shouldn't. I get that. I get that.
Now, Winnipeg did it right, okay? They didn't do it right. They lost their team. They got it. They sent it to Arizona, whatever. Now they got another franchise back and called it the Winnipeg Jets. So you could still substantiate the fact that they can retire Winnipeg Jet players there because they're called the Winnipeg Jets.
What are you doing?
That's all. That's the only thing. I get where you're coming from, Paulie. I get it, but you can't. If the Toronto Maple Leafs change their name to somebody else, and somebody comes in and plays for them, do you retire them with the Toronto Maple Leafs? No, you can't.
No, I know. I'm blaming the NHL for dropping cities.
Listen, the NHL was a little greedy, Paulie, and took money from cities that they shouldn't have gone to. You know that, and I know that.
Yeah.
We agree on that part there. And speaking of that, I want to get into something here now that was at the top of my list today, but this COVID thing. Here we go again. You got players out. You got coaches out. You got a team in Sudbury, I think, in a major junior A league in Ontario that has suspended their operations because 12 players are under the COVID protocol. And in the meantime, I'm going to get into it here, so be ready, folks. We're going to go to the Olympics in China,
right,
and play. Like, why are we kissing China's ass?
I wish I had
that country has caused so much pain around the world, and yet nobody wants to call them out for it. The NBA basically kisses their ass every day because they like the dollar signs, no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now the NHL players are talking about going. I mean, they're going to the Olympics, and I don't know about you, but I was probably, if I could go back in time, I was never good enough to play for an Olympic team. But if I was, and somebody said to me now, I wouldn't go. Why would I go over there? After all the bullshit you've caused in this world today. Look at the leagues. All the sports leagues are having a problem with COVID. And nobody wants to point it out because you know what? China has so much money involved with people in the world, and the world has so much money tied up with China that they really don't want to get down to the nitty-gritty of this. And I don't get it, why every sports thing is still kissing their ass, other than the dollar fact. I don't know. I'm not impressed with going to China to play hockey in the Olympics, to be honest with you.
No. Well, I don't know.
Well, COVID this, COVID that. I mean, I can come. I can be fourth right here. You know, I caught COVID, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I caught it, and I was double vaxxed. I was already vaxxed twice, so obviously the vax didn't work. I still caught it.
Yeah.
So what's next? Another vax? Another booster shot? This, that? More crap? And we all know where it came from. It came from China. I don't give a shit what anybody says. We all know where it came from. Unfortunately, the politicians in all the countries in the world don't want to say that because they got so much money tied up. Now the NHL is probably going to make a ton of money by sending their team to the Olympics. I don't know. I just totally disagree with it. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't disagree. I don't disagree with you either. I mean, the NHL. Speaking of which, I mean, because of COVID and protocol, the Rangers and Islander game has to be rescheduled. The one that Sunday that just passed, and I believe another game was rescheduled. It was Ottawa.
Yeah. People are like just going along like nothing ever happened from China.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. And I don't look at I'm pissed about this because it's caused nothing but pain. It's caused nothing but economic downfall around the world. Okay? It's caused all our entertainment to be kind of muffled a little bit. Like you said, games are being suspended, teams are in protocol, coaches are doing this. I mean, and yet no, we're still going to kiss their ass and we're going to do stuff with them when it comes to the entertainment part.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I agree. I don't think the Olympics should be held, and I sure don't think that the NHL should participate. The NHL was shut down for 2 years. The Canadian border just opened up. God, I mean, I could probably count on one hand how many days.
Oh, but that's going to change soon too, though, because of the other variant that's now out there. You watch.
And here we are. We're going to take all our sports teams. I mean, we can't even travel to our neighbor. Nevertheless,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just.
Why? You as an NHL player would take that chance now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I don't know what else to say. I'm very disappointed. And here we are with more debatable topics and just terrible judgment calls, bad business. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. The COVID Cup. You know how the NHL had to change everything due to COVID, and you know the game changed, and the way the game was produced changed, and just everything. And here we are. We're gonna just wrap everybody up and fly them over to China and participate like nothing ever happened. I agree with you. This all started there, and I don't get it. I don't get it. We talk about bad management, bad business.